Sorry guys, we got disconnected there. I hope you're still there or you're figuring out that I've come back on. We got disconnected there for a minute, but anyway, I was talking about how I had been attacked by an American bulldog, and the dog clamped on my finger. I held the collar, pushed inward, got loose. Anyway, I held that dog for the life of me with one hand, okay? I had that dog with my left hand, all right? And I could not let go, that dog was going to kill me. I promise you. I've seen this before. And so when my finger came out of the dog's mouth, blood everywhere. I've never felt more terrified in my life. I felt like this was cut down to the muscle, and I really felt like I might lose this finger. So as I held the dog, they grabbed stuff to wrap my hand in. The parents wrapped my hand up here while I held the dog with one hand down here. And in all of this, the dog never let up. The dog never was able to be calm. The dog was never able to reduce its rage. We got the dog to the kennel without hurting me, injuring me any further. And then, you know, the owners are talking about, we're about to have a baby, we're going to have a toddler in the house, we're going to have all of these things. This dog is attacking humans. They then begin unloading the story that they've been keeping from me, which is that the dog had attacked other people, was attacking anyone who came in the house, was extremely human aggressive, and then they were about to introduce a baby to the situation. Now, this is a philosophy of mine, and you can agree with it or disagree with it, but what I can tell you is that I do not believe that it is my position to say to a person, put your dog down. I don't think that's my position. I look at myself as sort of the Dr. Phil of dog training. I'll give you all the tools, the information, and the education that I have, but I cannot tell you how to raise your children. You have to make ultimate decisions. So the ultimate decision was up to the parents. I left it at that, and I do not, I'm also not of the school where I believe every single dog is curable or fixable. I believe there's a place for all dogs. Even high rage dogs can be kept somewhere, but those places are very rare. And it's, you know, if the dog is going to have a life of suffering mental illness, suffering isolation, suffering from treatment or abuse, sometimes I believe, you know, we must let that dog go. That's just my opinion. You can differ with it, but I think when you take a dog like that, knowing its history, and you hand it off to someone else who's not experienced enough to take care of it, you are creating a problem. You're creating a much larger problem and spreading it. It just becomes someone else's problem. In a sense, it's like having a loaded gun and just handing it off or selling it. It's not right. It's not right. And once you know you have a loaded gun, you have to treat it as such. Okay, so that's one of my horrible, harrowing experiences. Another really horrific experience that happened to me was I had a couple that it was two men, and they were very big on rescuing street dogs. And they would just bring these dogs into their home. And they'd see a dog on the street and they'd say, okay, gotta rescue it, bring it in the home. They didn't think it through. They didn't think about the dynamics in the home or whether the dogs would get along or what. They had 7 dogs in their home inside, and they decided to rescue a Great Dane that they found somewhere. And they brought the Great Dane into their home with the 7 dogs, and they called me and said, I don't know, we've done so well with all these other dogs that now the Great Dane is attacking everybody. Well, you know, you can't just bring a dog off the street and turn him loose and hope everything goes well. It doesn't work like that. So I went and helped them with that Great Dane. Long story short, I'm not going to get into all the detail because I'm sure it's boring, but I was talking to them. I had the dog on the leash, and that dog hit the back of my calf so hard, bit me so hard, no warning, no signs, no tension. There had been nothing up to that point that would give me any indication that that dog was about to do that. Oftentimes dogs, when they're hunting, or wolves when they're hunting, will hit an animal from behind and try to break the back leg to incapacitate them, to then kill them for food. And so when a dog hits you from behind and is trying to break that leg, that's a dog going in for the kill. And I had a Great Dane locked onto my calf doing a similar move. So that was terrifying, to say the least. Luckily, one of the men pulled the dog off me in time, and I had a huge chunk in my leg, but we went on and trained, and we worked with that dog, and we got that dog in a position of great training. So many problems are solvable and can be overcome, but they have to be done with professional advice and help and guidance, especially if you've got 8 dogs living in a house like that. And you have to treat them where they are, like dogs. You can't just approach it like, oh, everything will be fine and sweetness and love. So that's another one of my harrowing stories where I nearly got killed. Let me see how much time we've got left. Okay, well, I am really cutting it close on time here. I think I had 10 minutes left when we got cut off there. Time just flies on these things. Let me see if I have time for this other. I'll save some of my other training stories for next week. But I wanted to take a moment to encourage you guys, as Bob Barker used to always say on the end of The Price is Right, please spay and neuter your pets. The world is full of millions and millions of dogs that are unwanted, that are unneeded. Not unneeded, that's a terrible thing to say. Dogs that are unwanted, unloved, there are no homes for them. They're just thrown aside. I mean, dogs are not disposable, okay? They're very deep thinking, very deeply emotional and beautiful creatures, and to just toss them aside is evil, in my opinion, okay? So if we can spay and neuter our pets, we can solve that problem before it ever becomes a bigger problem. You know, a dog doesn't just have one dog, they have litters, okay? So, you know, when you let your dog just go and accidentally get pregnant, that dog creates a litter, which creates more litters, which creates more litters. And we just have to be responsible, because spaying and neutering also solves a lot of health problems. You know, it lowers the risk of testicular cancer, uterine cancers. It lessens frustration and, meaning... Oh, hold on a second. It says here, I'm sorry, I'm getting a note from the Wolf Driver who runs the channel here. It says, show in 2.5 hours. Does that mean you have a show in 2.5 hours, or I started at the wrong time? I don't know which that means. Oh, Rottweiler breed tonight. It means Wolf Diddy is doing a show. See, the Wolf Driver has a whole channel of shows, a whole channel of different information. There's just so much to explore on the Wolf Driver channel. Besides just my training show. So I would encourage you to look around at some of the other stuff. But I'm here every Thursday and Sunday night, so please come back and check with us. And in between these shows, if you want to email me some questions or some thoughts or topics you'd like me to address on my show, please email me, dean@thedogcounselor.com, or just find me at thedogcounselor.com and send your questions, remarks, anything. I'd be happy to talk with you online. I really enjoy doing this, and I love it. And I'm really thankful to the Wolf Driver for having me on here every week. I would like to thank you guys for watching and for coming back. The audience is building every week. I can't believe how many people see this show. It's mind-boggling. But again, we've run out of time. So my name is Dean Miller, and I am known as the Dog Counselor. I'm centered in Nashville, Tennessee if you need my services, but I travel everywhere. And next week we'll have some more stories and advice and thoughts about dog training. So take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Dean Miller, the Dog Counselor. Thanks. Bye-bye.